Excuses are the lies we tell ourselves when fear wins. Every time you say, "I can't," you hand your future over to your limitations. But the truth is this: Lincoln lost. You were never designed to live small, to wait, or to wish. You were designed to become. Today is the death of excuses and the birth of your new self. Lincoln lost. Are you ready to bury the old story and reinvent your life? Excuses. They are the most clever, most deceptive chains ever forged by the human mind. They don't scream, they whisper. They come dressed in reason, disguised as logic, cloaked in rationality. You don't even notice them at first because they speak your language. Lincoln lost. I'm tired. I don't have time. It's not the right season. Maybe later. And just like that, the opportunity passes, the moment slips, and the dream dies. Quietly, silently, almost politely. But make no mistake, excuses are not your friends. They are not your protectors. They are your jailers. You see, every excuse is a carefully constructed cage. And the worst part, you built it yourself, piece by piece, thought by thought. You crafted it so well, so convincingly. Lincoln lost that. Now you actually believe it. You believe you're too old. You believe it's too late. You believe success is for others, not for you. But understand this is Lincoln beliefs shape your reality, and excuses are just beliefs in disguise. Beliefs that strip you of power while pretending to be reasonable. Lincoln lost. Let me tell you something most people never heard. There is nothing noble about staying where you are. Lincoln lost. There is nothing wise about shrinking your potential to fit your current circumstances. And there is no safety in settling. Life does not reward those who play small. Lincoln lost. It rewards those who dare to silence the voice of fear, who stop negotiating with doubt, and who understand that excuses are the language of regret spoken too late. What's worse, excuses multiply. 1 becomes 2, 2 become 5. Before long, you're surrounded. And now you're explaining why you didn't start the business. Lincoln lost. Why you didn't chase the dream. Why you didn't leave the job, leave the relationship, write the book, build the body, or live the life. You become a brilliant storyteller, telling everyone why it couldn't be done. But let me ask Yug, are you proud of that story? Does it empower you? Does it set your soul on fire? Lincoln lost. Or does it leave you empty when the world gets quiet? The truth is, the excuse is never the real problem. The problem is what the excuse is protecting. Behind every excuse lives a fear, of failure, of rejection, of inadequacy. Excuses are the defense mechanism of an identity that's afraid to grow. The moment you realize that, you stop fighting to preserve the lie and start fighting for your life. You stop defending the very thing that's holding you down. If you want to reinvent yourself, you must confront this hard truth. You've been the one standing in your own way. Not your past, not your upbringing, not your boss, not the economy. You, your thoughts, Lincoln words, your decisions. That's the tough pill to swallow. But it's also the most liberating truth you will ever embrace. Because if you are the problem, Lincoln, then you are also the solution. You can tear down the cage. You can rewrite the script. Lincoln lost. Take that same imagination that's been used to make excuses and now use it to create visions, build plans, and take relentless action. No more hiding behind logic. Lincoln lost. No more waiting for perfect timing. There is no logic in dying with your potential still locked inside you. Lincoln lost. There is no wisdom in letting your greatness expire because you were too afraid to feel uncomfortable. You were not born to survive. You were born to rise, to evolve, to create. Lincoln lost. And that means you must kill every excuse that tells you to stay the same. So today, right now, you draw a line. You say enough. Enough of the lies that wear the mask of reason. Enough of the false safety that's slowly suffocating your spirit. Enough of shrinking to fit into the life you were never meant to live. Excuses are just fear with better grammar. Lincoln the script, rewrite the narrative, and take the first step without apology or permission, because the truth is, Lincoln lost. Your life begins the moment your excuses end. There comes a moment in every person's life when halfway isn't enough, when dipping your toe into the water won't do. Lincoln lost. When the idea of turning back must be eliminated. Not managed, not postponed, eliminated. If you are truly going to reinvent yourself, there can be no plan B. You must burn the boats. Now, that phrase has been spoken throughout history in stories of conquest and resolve, but its meaning is universal and timeless. Lincoln lost. If you leave yourself an option to return to your old self, you will take it. If you leave the door cracked, fear will walk right in. Lincoln lost. That's why true transformation demands complete commitment. Not partial, not probable total. The challenge is most people want change without cost. Lincoln lost. They want success without sacrifice. They want to move forward while keeping one foot in the past, just in case it gets hard, just in case they fail. Lincoln lost just in case it takes longer than expected. But that's not commitment. That's hesitation disguised as wisdom. Lincoln lost. You cannot reinvent yourself while still romancing the comfort of who you used to be. The old you has to die so the new you can breathe. Lincoln lost. Think of your past identity like a familiar city. You know the streets, the shortcuts, the safe places to hide. But you're no longer called to live there. Lincoln that place. Those habits, those beliefs, those patterns may have served a version of you, but they cannot take you where you are meant to go. Lincoln Lost, reinvention starts the moment you set fire to the bridge behind you and say, this is the new path now. I'm not hoping. I'm not testing. I'm becoming. And yes, it's going to feel like lost. That's part of the process. The cost of the next level is always the comfort of the current one. But don't confuse discomfort with danger. Lincoln Lost, growth is not requirement. The temporary pain of letting go is nothing compared to the permanent pain of regret. Lincoln Lost, you must get to a place where going back is more terrifying than going forward. You may be tempted to keep pieces of the old you close, just in case. Lincoln Lost, but let me warn you, that's the trap. That backup plan becomes the excuse you fall back on when things get tough. And the E will get tough. Your limits will scream. Lincoln Lost, your doubts will grow louder. That's when most people retreat. Not because they weren't capable, but because they had too many options to quit. Lincoln Lost, you must take the same energy you've used to defend your excuses and redirect it into building your new self. That means throwing yourself fully into the process. You must decide, Lincoln Lost, I don't care how long it takes. I don't care how hard it gets. I'm not going back. That kind of resolve creates a shift. Lincoln Lost, you stop asking, will this work? And start declaring, I will make it work. And this isn't just about achieving something. It's about becoming someone. Someone with integrity of intention. Someone who honors their word. Someone who doesn't flirt with greatness. They marry it. That level of decision reshapes your reality. Lincoln Lost. Because when you remove the option to quit, your only remaining path is mastery. You don't get to reinvent yourself by convenience. You get there by consequence. By deciding that staying the same is no longer an option, you won't get a guarantee. There's no refund policy on effort. But what you gain is something far greater. Freedom. Not freedom from work, but freedom from hesitation. Freedom from being half alive. Freedom from the version of you that waited, stalled, and second-guessed. Burning the boats is not an act of recklessness, it's an act of clarity. It's not driven by ego, it's driven by purpose. It says, Lincoln Lost. I know who I was and I know who I must become, and nothing in between will stop me. That fire you light behind you becomes the fuel that drives you forward. Lincoln Lost. The moment you stop looking over your shoulder is the moment your future opens its arms. There is no way back, only through, only forward, only all in. Lincoln Lost, you want to reinvent yourself. You must first understand a powerful truth, and you will never rise above the story you tell yourself. Your identity, the very foundation of who you are, is not fixed. It is formed moment by moment by the words that echo in your own mind, that inner conversation. Lincoln Lost, the one no one else hears, is the architect of your behavior, your decisions, your life. And if that voice still calls you by the name of your old self, then no amount of action will ever set you free. Most people never challenge the voice in their head. They live under its authority as if it were the voice of truth. Lincoln Lost, but it's not truth. It's programming. It's the collection of beliefs passed down, reinforced by repetition, shaped by environment, and fueled by fear. If that voice tells you, Lincoln Lost, you're not good enough, you act accordingly. If it says, this isn't for people like you, back away. You don't question it. You obey it. But what if you paused and asked, who gave that voice the right to define me? Understand this identity is not who you are. It's who you think you are. And that thinking is built with language. Every time you say, I'm not a disciplined person. I've always been bad with money. I'm not a leader. You are reinforcing a version of yourself that is keeping you stuck. Lincoln Lost, you cannot become a new person while clinging to an old narrative. You must change your language before you change your life. It begins with awareness. Start noticing the subtle ways your inner dialogue sabotages your progress. Notice how quickly you disqualify yourself. Notice how often you downplay your value. Lincoln Lost, that voice is not speaking fact. It is echoing fear. But here's the key, just as it was built, it can be rebuilt. You can rewire it. Lincoln Lost, and that rewiring begins the moment you stop repeating what limits you and start declaring what empowers you. You must speak from the identity you want to build. Lincoln Lost, not the one you want to leave behind. That means instead of saying, I'm trying to change, you say, I am transforming. Instead of, I hope I succeed, you say, Lincoln Lost, I'm the kind of person who follows through. These are not just motivational slogans. They are instructions to your subconscious mind. Lincoln Lost, and your subconscious always works to prove you're right, so give it something worth proving. Speak in alignment with your vision, not your current reality. Lincoln Lost, your circumstances are temporary, but your identity is what sustains change. You don't go to the gym to become fit. You go because you've decided you are a healthy person. Lincoln Lost, you don't start a business to become an entrepreneur. You start one because you've already accepted that identity internally. The external is always an echo of the internal. Lincoln Lost, this is why willpower alone isn't enough. If your inner dialogue contradicts your goals, your energy will constantly feel divided. Lincoln lost. You'll take 2 steps forward and 1 step back, not because you're incapable, but because you're conflicted. The old voice says, Lynn lost. You've never done this before, while the new you whispers, but I'm doing it now. And that battle must be won daily in the language of belief. Lincoln lost. Don't wait until you feel confident. Confidence doesn't come before action. It follows identity. And identity shifts the moment you refuse to speak to yourself like someone who is broken, lacking, or weak. Speak to yourself as you would someone you love, someone you believe in. Lincoln lost. Someone whose potential is unfolding, not shrinking. People spend years trying to change habits while ignoring the root, the identity behind them. But when you change your self-talk, the habits follow, the discipline comes easier, the decisions become clearer, the path, though still challenging, starts to feel aligned. Lincoln lost. If you keep calling yourself average, don't be surprised when life treats you that way. But when you say, I am becoming something greater, and you say it long enough, Lincoln lost, often enough and loud enough to drown out doubt, the world around you begins to rearrange, because you've changed, not just your actions, but your identity. And everything flows from that. The words you speak to yourself are not commentary. They are commands. Choose them wisely. Speak as who you're becoming, and soon, Lincoln lost. You won't have to convince anyone, including yourself. You can think all day. You can plan, journal, visualize, analyze, debate, and strategize. But until you move, nothing changes. Power does not live in your thoughts. Power lives in your actions. It's not what you know that transforms you. It's what you dog. Excuses cannot survive in the presence of action. They need stillness, waiting, overthinking, and hesitation to stay alive. The moment you start moving, Lincoln lost. The excuses begin to lose their grip. This is what most people misunderstand. They believe they need motivation before they take the first step. They wait for clarity. Lincoln lost for certainty, for confidence. But what they don't realize is that action you creates all of those things. Lincoln lost. You don't get confident by standing still. You get confident by doing the thing you're afraid to do. Action produces momentum, and momentum crushes fear. Excuses are masterful at sounding intelligent. I don't have enough time. I don't know where to start. It's not the right season. These phrases get repeated so often they feel like facts. Lincoln lost. But here's the truth. They're just clever ways to avoid movement. The only way to find out if your excuse is real is to challenge it with action. Lincoln lost. And what you'll often discover, that the thing you thought was blocking you was never even there. Every step forward is a vote for the new you. Lincoln lost. Every act of courage weakens the old story. You don't need a full plan to begin, just a direction. Movement, even if imperfect, begins the process of reinvention. The path reveals itself as you walk it, not before. Stop trying to think your way into a new life. Walk your way into it. Move your feet and your mind will follow. Lincoln lost. Too many people are waiting for the perfect moment to begin. But perfection is a myth. The perfect time will never come. You will never feel completely ready. And that's not a problem. It's a signal. If you feel fear, it means you're standing at the edge of growth. And the only way to claim that growth is to take a step, even while your voice shakes and your heart pounds. Action is the great separator. It is the line between dreamers and doers, between wishers and winners. Everyone has ideas. Everyone has intentions. But few have the discipline to act when it's inconvenient, uncomfortable, or unclear. That's what sets people apart. Not talent. Not luck. Not genius. Just consistent, determined action in the face of resistance. And here's something even more powerful. You don't need to take massive action to change your life. Just consistent action. 1 page a day writes the book. 1 call a day builds the network. 1 step a day covers the mile. When you remove the drama and focus on movement, Lincoln lost, progress becomes inevitable. Stop worshiping the idea of a breakthrough and start honoring the discipline of a daily step. When you act, you shift your identity. Lincoln lost, you start to see yourself differently. You start proving to yourself that you're no longer a person who talks. You're a person who does. Lincoln lost. And that internal shift is what fuels the external change. Suddenly, the things you thought were impossible become reachable. Not because they got easier, but because you got stronger. Excuses are fragile. They can only survive in the dark and silence and delay. The moment you move, the illusion cracks. Lincoln lost. You realize that fear is mostly noise, that doubt is just mental static, and that you are far more capable than you once believed. Lincoln lost. But you'll never access that realization until you act. You don't need more time. You don't need more knowledge. You don't need someone else's approval. You need to take the step that's been waiting for you. Do it scared. Do it untired. But do it. Because in motion, everything changes. You become sharper, faster, Lincoln bolder, more certain. In motion, you learn faster and recover quicker. In motion, you become alive. The excuse dies the second you decide to move. Lincoln lost. Because the moment you take action, you reclaim your power. So now you stand at the edge, between the life you've settled for and the life that's still waiting for you. Lincoln lost. You've seen how excuses are nothing but self-imposed limits. How true reinvention demands you burn the boats. How your identity can be rebuilt by the words you speak to yourself. And how action is the only antidote to fear. The choice is no longer outside of you. It's within you. You can continue repeating the same patterns, recycling the same reasons. Or you can lost and rise, kill the excuses, reinvent yourself, not someday, now.